Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara is providing an update right now, and he's addressing the
Earlier
media.
this afternoon, our city experienced a deeply troubling act of violence. In the middle of the day, a gunman armed with a high-velocity .223 rifle opened fire on a group of people on the sidewalk on the block behind me, directly across the street from a Catholic high school. That gunman wound up killing one person and wounding 6 others that were standing on the sidewalk. This level of firepower unleashed in broad daylight is completely sickening and unacceptable. Obviously, the investigation is still in its preliminary stages, so the information that I have is subject to change. But what I can tell you is shortly before 1:30 this afternoon, Minneapolis police received a ShotSpotter notification that approximately 30 rounds of gunfire had been fired near the intersection of East 29th Street and Clinton Avenue. Police officers responded, finding one adult male who was deceased upon arrival. Additionally, there were 6 additional victims suffering from gunshot wounds, 5 males and 1 woman. These 6 victims were found at various locations in the area. 3 of those surviving victims were said to have critical and life-threatening injuries. However, I can tell you the most recent update I just received is that all 6 remaining victims are expected to survive. Our thoughts right now are obviously with the person who lost his life, with those who are trying to recover from their injuries, and with all those families and members of our community who have been affected. Thanks to the swift response from Minneapolis police officers, our investigators are pursuing strong leads at this time. We're thankful for the assistance that we've received from business and residents in the area. Our crime lab is here on the scene processing dozens of pieces of evidence that have been recovered, and we're doing everything we possibly can to identify those who are responsible for this violence. As your police department, we want all people in our community to know that we remain committed to doing everything we possibly can to reduce serious street crime while rebuilding trust with our residents. We will not stop until we can make every block in this city safe for all of our residents. But we cannot do that alone. Obviously, we need partners. So certainly, we are asking anyone else in the community who may have information about what occurred here to please come forward, even anonymously, because together we can continue to try and make Minneapolis safer for all people in our community. And with that, I'll do the best I can to answer questions that you have. I believe all 7 victims are adults. I don't have their ages at this time. I think 1 or 2 may still be unidentified, but they're believed to be adults. The shooter fled the scene. We have substantial pieces of evidence that we are reviewing, and I feel confident that we will be able to identify this person. Fled in a vehicle from the scene.
Chief, was this a random act, or can you tell us if this was intentional?
We believe, based on the manner that this shooting occurred, that at least one person standing in that group was clearly targeted. Yes.
Can you give a description of the vehicle?
We're not releasing that at this time.
Can you describe this weapon at all more, whether this was automatic or what kind of a weapon this was?
From the ShotSpotter notification, we do not believe this to have been fully automatic. However, this was clearly a high-velocity .223 rifle. And certainly it's obvious from the injuries that people suffered here, just the significant damage that those types of rounds can do to the human body. It's gross.
Can you talk about where this took place? This is next to, it's a high school?
Yes.
Maybe a nonprofit?
So we were here just last week. This is the backside of Cristo del Rey. It's a Catholic high school. Last week we were here conducting our community CompStat meeting. We've been here several times, conducting different meetings and community engagements here. And obviously school was in session. It's a high school. Just thankfully, we spoke to some of the students here. They're fine. But it's obviously deeply, deeply troubling to have something like this happen right outside of a school.
Was this like summer school or something? I wasn't sure if school had started.
I'm not sure if it's the regular year for them, but there's high school students that were here, and that many of them are leaving now.
From what you've been able to gather, can you explain these victims? Were they some kind of gathering? Do they live around here?
I don't have information to release on that at this time. This particular area, though, there's obviously people who hang out. And I think you could talk to residents that live around here. There's obviously people that hang out alongside of the highway there, 35, and some of the other blocks that are affected by that. So this just appeared to be people that were hanging out here on the sidewalk.
When you say the victims were found in various locations,
Yes.
talking about where
So there's one person that was killed that is deceased at the scene. At least one other victim, I believe, that was at the scene when police arrived. The remaining 5 people ran from the scene after being shot. So some of them had gone to inside of different businesses along Lake Street and were found by the police and the ambulance in the area here.
Chief, we've seen a number of vehicles with windows, obviously like this one, that have been blown out here. Did a number of vehicles get hit too by stray gunfire?
There is damage to some of the vehicles that are parked in the area here, yes.
And are you all familiar with anybody involved?
I don't have information to release on that. Yep.
can you confirm all the victims are at HCMC?
I believe they are all at yes, they're all at HCMC.
And the location of the shooting was down
On the corner, the shooter was at the corner of East 29th Street and Clinton Avenue, and the victims, we believe the victims were gathered on the sidewalk about 15 yards in from the corner.
Do you believe the shooter had help from anyone else?
I'm not going to speculate on that. I do believe there is just one shooter, though. Yep.
Was the shooter outside of the vehicle
Yes.
when he fired?
Shooter was on foot when he fired.
Your thoughts?
It's deeply disturbing. Obviously, this is the middle of the day. We are standing literally right next to a high school, and this type of weapon, it's more for a weapon of war than something to be on the street here. I mean, just the damage that was done to the bodies of some of these victims is unspeakable. And thankfully, we don't have more people that are dead from this incident.
Can you speak to the number of shots that were fired here and if that's something you expect to see in this type of
We believe it's about 30 rounds. That's what the shot spotter detected. There's obviously numerous shell casings that are being collected. They're rifle .223 casings. But that's as much as I can say at this time. We don't believe it was automatic gunfire.
Can you confirm if the person who is dead is in fact the person that the shooter was potentially targeting?
No, we don't know that. We do not believe that this was a random act of violence. We believe that at least one of those individuals that was here was specifically targeted.
Is there any connection to any gang activity?
I cannot say that at this time.
And can you talk at all about did any businesses help with trying to assist any of the victims that went in?
I'm sure they did. I just don't have that specific information. I believe I believe some of the victims wound up in some of the businesses directly behind us here. Yeah. There's numerous pieces of video evidence that are being retrieved, and the investigators are going through now. Yes.
All right. As you heard there, that is Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara giving an update to a shooting in South
Right, thank
Minneapolis
you.
that killed
Thank
one
you.
person and injured 6 others. And the chief says that those that were injured had critical life-threatening injuries but are expected to survive. As for the shooter, they are still looking for them.